I have finally found the summoner build for me that works. It's still a work in progress, as with all builds, I feel. But I feel like we're on the right track finally. And it's because of this one ring that I was able to get. So the ring that I got was this one, Ring of Mendelin. So while you have 7 or more minions, you gain Lucky Hit up to 10% chance to empower all your minions, causing the next attack from each to explode for whatever damage, physical damage, and yeah. This is really good, obviously, because you can just see the numbers. It's like really high. And the only thing you need to worry about is proccing the lucky hit. Now, in my other video that I made, I was trying to proc this with Corpse Explosion, but I realized that Corpse Explosion was not a good way to proc the lucky hit after doing some research and Googling. I found out that Bone Spear is actually the better one, but I'll go into more of that later. But very shortly, it seems like Bone Spear is the one that can proc this really well. I thought it was bugged with Corpse Explosion, but yeah, it wasn't bugged. I guess Corpse Explosion is just a flop, and you should go Bone Spear to proc Lucky Hit. So as you can see, like this gives a lot of damage just by proccing Lucky Hit. So there are 3 things that I kind of am looking for in my item builds. So number 1 is I want to have survivability for myself and for my minions, because quite often I felt when you don't have a lot of survivability for your minions, they just die, like they stand in poison and they die. Number 2 that I'm looking for is a way to proc Lucky Hit. So that could be attack speed for my minions, it could be whatever, you know, my skills or whatever, or the items give Lucky Hit chance or whatever. And then number 3 is just making your minions stronger, like having more minions. +2 maximum minions, mage minions and warrior minions, like whatever, you know, like standard stuff. So my items are, for the helmet I have Bone Spear, leaves behind echoes as it travels that explode, dealing 1155 damage. I'm gonna go a bit more onto this. I feel like this does proc Lucky Hit, but I'll go into more in depth with it, my thoughts on it. This chest I have imprinted, just get 2 more skeleton mages. That's obviously pretty good. My unique gloves is this. Now, it's just like a bunch of Lucky Hit stuff, and I'm already trying to proc Lucky Hit, so it's like, oh, well, this works out well. And plus, I mostly like the up to 5% chance to restore my primary resource so I can spam my Bone Spear more. But all the other stuff is really good as well. I don't really care about the damage itself, so like your attacks randomly deal 1% to 300%. Like, that doesn't really matter to me. It's more so the Lucky Hit stuff that comes with it, so yeah. And then these are my pants. This is for survivability for myself, so I get a lot of stuff like, you know, a barrier, like the extra healing that I get turns into a barrier, which can come in really clutch and help you from getting a one-shot. And also the potion drop rate, 34.5% potion drop rate, like, I'm always having potions, which is like really good. Like, honestly, it comes in really clutch, like it saved me against the Butcher. My boots, I get extra skeleton warriors, so that's obviously really good. So, you know how I said I want attack speed? I'll go into why I want attack speed for my minions later, but my sword is attack speed, like each time I'm summoning minions damage an enemy, they gain attack speed that stacks. My shield is survivability for my minions who don't die, so damage reduction. My other ring is just while Army of the Dead is active, your minions gain attack speed and damage reduction, so that's both worlds that I get. Best of both worlds, and then this is my amulet. Every 10 seconds, just Cold Skeletal Mages cast a Blizzard, so that's for utility, for chilling, whatever. So for the skills, you can see that I have my Golem, and then I have my Raised Skeleton, so that takes up 2 slots. And then I have Army of the Dead to raise my skeletons back up, and then I have Decrepify to lower my cooldowns on my abilities. And then I have Reap, and Bone Spear to proc Lucky Hit. In terms of passives and all that, you can just take literally anything that makes you stronger, like extra damage, and survivability. Extra damage, you know, some bone stuff. Anything that makes your minion stronger and makes yourself stronger and tanky is good. I got 1 in Necrotic Carapace and 1 in Hued Flesh. Not that I use any corpses, but I feel like the Fortify, because they work together, the Fortify just like helps with my survivability, and I feel like that's worth it. It's just like 2 points, so it's fine. So the Reap is just, I go the instant kill, because I'm not doing corpses, so I don't need the corpses. I go Vulnerability for the Bone Spear, because obviously that's really good. Extra 20% damage onto the person. Decrepify is the cooldown one. And then Army of the Dead is everything, so that's all easy peasy. In terms of the Paragon board, I just went the first like minion cult leader one, and I kind of went like this formation. Kind of just doing whatever, honestly. So again, the things that you kind of want to look for are like things that make you or your minions tankier, and extra damage, I guess. But I prioritized like damage. I went into the bone board next just because I like this one. Essence on kill, just so I can spam my stuff more, my bone sphere, because I cannot stand like not having enough resource. And then I went this glyph, which is exploit. This glyph gives you extra damage on vulnerable people, so obviously really good against Bone Spear people, because your Bone Spear vulnerable, so this glyph works really well with Bone Spear. And then I have this one, Dead Razor, just makes me have damage reduction on my minions. So again, like it's just all about making my minions as tanky as possible. Because again, like when you hit into higher dungeons, like they just die and flop, which is like, okay bitch, like, hello. But even with them dying, like even if they do die, you have Army of the Dead to raise them up, which is why I love having this. And then also why I like having Decrepify to lower the cooldown, because I just feel like you kind of need it. Like it's a must. Like Army of the Dead is like what makes you work, because otherwise you're just gonna try and revive your minions by like using Race Skeleton, but I feel like that's just so slow and so flop, and you need the corpses, which we don't really have. So I like having Army of the Dead on a low cooldown, and Decrepify makes you makes the enemy deal less damage by 20%. So that's also really good for us. Okay, so let's go into like why everything, like why attack speed, and why the utility, blah blah. Oh wait, I forgot to look up the dead. So true. I made like video on Necromancer already, but going through this, we go Reap. So the first one with the Reap. Oh, I'm blocking it. I'm blocking it, but it's the first one, where Reaper attacks against enemies who are immobilized, slow, stunned, or vulnerable, reduce the cooldown of their powerful wind-up by 2 seconds. So obviously we're attacking really fast with all these attack speed stuff, so they're gonna get the auto attacks in and reduce the cooldowns faster and faster, so it's really good. I looked up on Google, and someone said that this Reap skeleton can proc Lucky Hit, so it can proc the ring that we had, the ring that makes us do a lot of damage. And I cannot confirm nor deny if this is true, because it's kind of hard to tell and hard to see. So I'm actually not too sure if it actually procs Lucky Hit. But even if it didn't proc Lucky Hit, this is still what I would go. So if it does proc Lucky Hit, like that's lovely, it's an extra bonus. But even then, I still think the first one is the way to go. The next one is Cold Skeletons, and I got the first one, which is primary resource when they attack, which is also why we love having attack speed on the Cold Mages, because the more attack speed they have, the more they obviously attack, and the more they attack, it means the more essence we get, which means we get to spam our Bone Spear more, so that's lovely. We don't need the second one because we already have vulnerability on our Bone Spear. And then for the Golem, I went for the first one, which is so Iron Golem, and then the first one. Every 5th Iron Golem attack causes a shockwave, dealing blah 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 damage to the primary enemy and to enemies behind them. There is the vulnerability one, which is in the middle, that I'm blocking. But again, we don't need vulnerability because we have a Bone Spear. So we just want all this attack speed stuff, and yeah, all the attack speed also helps the Iron Golem get the auto attack stuff to do the big slam, because it's every 5th auto attack, so we love that. So your majority of the damage is actually gonna come from this ring. It's not really the minions themselves doing damage, it's not really you doing damage, it's actually all from this ring, and proccing the Lucky Hit is the important thing. So with Corpse Explosion and Bone Spear, so I thought Corpse Explosion was bugged, but it seems like the only way you proc Lucky Hit with Corpse Explosion, or how it works, should I say, is that you have a 40% chance, which by the way, if anyone doesn't know, each skill has its own Lucky Hit proc rate, which you can go look up on websites. I don't know why they don't like show it in game, but like for example, Bone Spear has a 55% Lucky Hit. Corpse Explosion has 40%, I think. So every skill has their own Lucky Hit thing. Oh, by the way, often quickly. Decrepify's cooldown is enemies hit while afflicted with Decrepify have an up to 50% chance to reduce your active cooldown by 1 second, which works with your minions as well and everything. So obviously that's why we lower attack speed as well, because the more our minions attack and blah blah blah, the more Decrepify can have a faster chance at proccing. So all this attack speed is really good. And I was going back to Corpse Explosion. So I thought that Corpse Explosion would have a 40% chance of proccing Lucky Hit on every single monster that it hits in an AoE situation. But I think that's only... The only reason why I thought that was because of Decrepify and the Hued Flesh. So with Hued Flesh, it is... Your damage has up to 4% chance to create a corpse at the target location, and with Decrepify, it's 15% chance to reduce your active cooldown when you hit an enemy. So when you use Corpse Explosion in a whole cluster with Decrepify, you can see your cooldowns get down quickly, and then you can also see that you're making a lot of corpses with Hued Flesh. So I figured like, oh, that must mean Lucky Hit is proccing on each one because of Corpse Explosion. But it's not. It's actually Corpse Explosion is proccing once, and it's a separate thing. It's the Hued Flesh Lucky Hit and the Decrepify's Lucky Hit that's proccing on each one separately. So, in fact, the Corpse Explosion is not even relevant to the proccing of corpses and Decrepify. It's totally irrelevant. I could have used my Reap ability, like my auto attack. I could have used any ability, so long as I was actually AoEing the whole mobs or whatever. So how Corpse Explosion works, apparently, and I'm inclined to believe, is that it's only 40% for this one use, one instance, one per use. It's not like 40% on each minion that it hits. It's literally just one time when you use it. Whereas with the Bone Spear, it's actually per hit, which I don't really know why someone said that, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I believe that. But as soon as I swapped to Bone Spear, it procced my Lucky Hit ring so much more. I don't know why. Like, I think even like Sever and Blight don't even proc like per hit, it's like per use. Whereas Bone Spear, if there's like 10 minions in a line and you use Bone Spear, each minion that it goes through is a 55% chance of proccing Lucky Hit. And then also Bone Spear has this one where it like comes backwards when it reaches its like full distance. It like comes backwards, it splits off, and that can also proc Lucky Hit as well. So it's like, I don't know why that's a thing, but I guess Bone Spear is a way to proc the Lucky Hit really well. Like, it actually procs the ring nicely in an AoE situation. And then this goes back to this helmet. Now, I am actually not too sure if the explosion actually procs Lucky Hit, but I am strongly inclined to believe that it does. So with this unique helmet, like, it's not the actual damage that's important, because there's only 1,000 damage and it explodes like probably 3 times per Bone Spear use, so it's not really the actual damage that is insane, although that it can be like quite good. It's actually the proccing of the explosions that I think also proc Lucky Hit as well. So there are these like elite monsters that can create these like ice barriers or ice fields. We might have seen them. And when you shoot a projectile through it, all projectiles become slow. So like instead of a Bone Spear like shooting through like that, if there's like this ice barrier and then you shoot out your Bone Spear, the Bone Spear like goes really quickly and then it like slows down, like slow motion, like Bayonetta style, you know? And I noticed that when that Bone Spear goes through the ice field, there's like lots of explosion because of the helmet, making the trail explosion. So normally when you shoot a Bone Spear, I can actually even show you. So normally when you shoot out Bone Spear, you can see like 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3 explosions. We'll do it again. Boom, boom, boom. Those 3 like frosty orb explosions. So I guess you can only get like 3 in its duration in the Bone Spear. But when you shoot through that like slowing ice field that I mentioned before, you can actually see your Bone Spear travel super slowly, but you can also see like the explosion is going like boom, 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 boom. So that means it's not like 3 only in a bone spear, it's like based on like time. Like it's like an explosion every 0.5 seconds. But because the bone spear is traveling so incredibly slow, it's constantly proccing like boom, 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 boom. So I mentioned this because I noticed that whenever that happens and I'm hitting a monster, my ring procs a lot more. Like just suddenly my ring procs so fast, like so often, that it wasn't doing it before. So I was thinking like, I do think this explosion actually does proc lucky hit. I would think so. Otherwise, like, why would minions start dying so quickly, and why do I start seeing all these like 10k numbers, right? So I do think this actually procs the lucky hit, which is again really good for us. But don't take my word for it, because I cannot really confirm nor deny it. I do think it does proc lucky hit, but I don't know. So this build is like really good that I found because it covers a lot of things that we were lacking before in like my other Necromancer builds, or like just like when you're playing Necromancer Summoner build and you're playing through and like leveling and all, like I'm sure you would have kind of realized that like your minions die a lot. And you have pretty shit AoE damage. Like, your single target's good with all your minions, like, constantly barraging something. But, like, your AoE and your survivability is, like, not it. So now, obviously, with all these items, like damage reduction here, and then the Army of the Dead, like, you have all this damage reduction, and then because your Army of the Dead can be spammed with Decrepify, lowering its cooldown, you have, like, all this damage reduction and attack speed. Then this also in an AoE situation, like we said with Bone Spear proccing Lucky Hit constantly on a whole AoE moment, this ring procs even more in an AoE like mobbing situation than on a boss. So you can wipe through mobs of units pretty easily. It's not your Bone Spear doing damage, it's not your actual minions doing damage, it's this ring proccing. And this is not even an AoE ring, it's like your 12 minions getting a big boost of attack in one instant. So it's not like AoE in the sense like you're doing a massive like wipe through like one ability. It's more that you're buffing your minions, and each minion is doing a strong auto attack that is clearing all these minions, but you can proc it more because you're hitting a lot of minions. So it's like still good. It's not like AoE, like area effect, but it's still good in a mobbing situation. So yeah, we could go into like a dungeon to kind of maybe showcase the build. Imagine if I showcase this build and it flops, like that'd be so embarrassing. I'm just gonna run through a dungeon. This is, I don't know what tier this is, but you see that 21,000 that happened? I'm pretty sure that's the ring, because most of my stuff is, maybe my Bone Spear, because everything doesn't actually do a lot of damage, so all those like big 10Ks or whatever, like you can see my Bone Spear's only doing like 4K. My minions themselves, like if I just like let them do it, like most of my minions like 1,000 damage, but Blizzard's 1,000, like that's 1,000, like they're not actually doing a lot of damage themselves. Like, so for those like 10K moments you see, it's actually the ring proccing. And you, a 54K, and you can proc the ring really easily in an AoE situation. Oh, I'm gonna die. I cannot talk and play at the same time. I don't know how all these other people do it. I find talking and playing really difficult. Also, you can heal your minions. Because you can actually spam your stuff a lot, but sometimes I forget to spam my thing. Oh, I probably shouldn't have taken artillery because that kind of does not showcase my stuff well. We'll just wait for this artillery to end. I'll just use my Army of the Dead when I come across an elite. Or like a big cluster. And then you can see like the cooldown. Like, I mean, you've seen in my other videos like how fast Decrepify can go down in its cooldown. Yeah, I'll just use it here. But I'm pretty sure everything's just gonna die. Oh, I probably shouldn't have taken that. So true. I keep forgetting. You know what, we'll eventually get a good mob. Okay. But yeah, because you can spam Bone Spear as well a lot because of your... Oh. Talking and playing is so hard. But anyways, so you can spam your bone spear a lot because of your cold mages. Again, like you can see my essence like restoring itself pretty well. And also, the item, my glove, because like again, the bone spear is proccing the lucky hit as it goes through. You can get your primary resource back up because of that as well. So you can spam a lot in a cluster. So, you know, my minions are dead, but with Army of the Dead ability, I can just raise them all back up. And like, I can just kind of stand back and let my minions do everything. And again, it's just like, I'm proccing all the ring lucky hit. I'm trying to see for, like, I'm just like trying to look at the lucky hit and see if it's actually proccing a lot. I mean, you can see it as yourself, but 12k there. I think I saw 14k. Like, you can see it's like pretty decent AoE. Like before, I felt like minions didn't have good AoE, but now like you can kind of just clear through minions effortlessly. And then for a bossing, you can't proc the lucky hit as fast in a bossing, but obviously minions are like excel in a single target, so like you can kind of just eat through a boss anyways. 34k, I saw. Oh, also, I found that these like bubbles, cause like you can't shoot through them. They like, it's like a shield barrier that blocks projectiles. Like, this stuff eats you up. Like, if you can avoid fighting this stuff, then you should, cause you just can't shoot through it. Like your skeleton mages can't shoot through it. You have to stand close and be in danger. Like, it's not the tier, so I would suggest that if you ever find these like bubbles, or if you play Overwatch, these Winston bubbles, like, just avoid them, cause they're annoying. They kind of eat you up. I forgot I was gonna say something.
Wouldn't have made this without you.
Oh, you can see that I have a barrier. Like, I can stay alive pretty well because of my pants and my gloves, like, killing me. Like, it's actually really clutch. I think something that like, when I was leveling, I kind of prioritized damage a lot. But as I started leveling up more, I realized, like, you really need, like, damage reduction and survivability. Like, there's no point in like having a lot of damage if you just like die. And also when you get stunned and frozen and all that, it's really annoying, which is also why I have like the topaz gems, the yellow ones, so like I can, because it gives damage reduction when you're crowd controlled. So yeah, like, cause sometimes you just like get frozen and stunned and then they just destroy you, and that's not fun. But should I get through this? I will say, like, in a single target moment, it's like hard to proc the lucky hit, so you're kind of like at the mercy of RNG. But I think that's also why Army of the Dead giving the attack speed is good, because your minions, if your Reap ability does proc, then your minions can proc the lucky hit themselves. So that's good. I'll just skip that chest.
I'm not ready yet.
I'm just gonna stand here and then use Army of the Dead, and let's see if it procs quickly. But like, yeah, you can kind of see, you can like delete bosses pretty easily because of the lucky hit. Cause it buffs your minions, like all these like, it's like 20k, 30k, whatever k per minion. So you can imagine on a boss when you have it 12, cause 6 plus 5 plus your golem. When you have all these like 12 times 20k or 30k, 40k, whatever, like that damage would definitely like stack up against a boss. Running through everything. Oh god. See? The survivability. I don't like doing that, I can't be bothered. Let me go find another thing. Where is this? Oh my god. There we go. But yeah, like the potion drop from the pants is like actually pretty clutch. Like I don't have to really worry about potions, because I know I'll just find it again. you could see that I was using my Bone Spear in the cluster of the minions, and that was empowering my minions and that destroyed the boss. Like I saw some like 47Ks and all that, so like it's better to use a Bone Spear in like a cluster rather than on the actual boss. I mean, you can just probably for the vulnerability, but yeah, that's pretty much like the build. Like honestly, it's pretty good single target, pretty good AoE, good survivability, and yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much the minion build that I've come across. Again, it's a work in progress probably, and I'll probably change some things here and there, but I feel like I'm pretty happy with every single piece. Like honestly, like there's not one piece that I don't like. Like I like this. I think it procs the lucky hit. I like this extra minions. I like the lucky. Maybe if there was anything to change, I guess I could change this one. But I still feel like this is fine. I really like the survivability on this. I'm not changing this. Extra warriors, attack speed, damage reduction. Obviously the ring, attack speed reduction, damage reduction. So that's lovely. And then this is really good for bossing. Okay, this chilling Blizzard is really good for the bosses because it staggers them really, really quickly. So I love this amulet, or I love this aspect. But yes, this is the Minion Summoner Necromancer build, and I think you should all give it a shot. If you can find this ring, go for it. I think it's probably the thing that actually makes minion builds actually do damage. So if you get this ring, keep it, and use Bone Spear, not Corpse Explosion. Bone Spear is the way to go. Anyways, if you do try this out, let me know how it goes, because I would love to hear about it.